How's it going, guys? It's Kass. As always, if you've been enjoying my content, then hit that subscribe button. So this is a video that I normally wouldn't make, but just given the circumstance of Demon Hunter, I feel like it's completely necessary. Normally I try to be positive about the class as a whole, but this is something that we just can't overlook. Demon Hunter got nerfed into the ground when it comes to PvP. We're at a point where if you want to PvP as a Demon Hunter, you have to hope that you have a very good healer to have a chance. There's no playing double DPS anymore unless you're just trying to one-shot people in the opener. And just to prove that point, I'm looking here at the statistics currently of the top 5,000 players. And back in BFA, Demon Hunter had around 350 or 250-ish players in the top 5,000 in US 3v3 arena, which honestly was relatively average, if not a little bit higher than some of the other melee classes. This is the current top 5,000 leaderboards. Right now, we have 236 Windwalker monks. We have 411 rogues. We have 500 warriors. We have 264 ret paladins. That's just ret paladins, so not including potential prop paladin players. We have 100 feral druids, just feral. We have 206 DKs, both specs. We have 115 enhanced shamans, just enhanced shamans. And then lastly, we have demon hunters, 55. 55. And this is the US. So then let's look at EU and see if it's any different. It's not. It's the same. 55 demon hunters in the top 5,000 players. So basically like 200 less than what it was at the last season of BFA. Now, it is early in the season. Demon Hunter hasn't had all of the access to the legendaries that make them good. However, I also like to point out, of those players, we can see the top 1,000 players. There's 11 top 1,000 Demon Hunters in the top in 3v3, and 6 of them are all using the legendary that makes Darkness trigger automatically below 35% health. So we're basically playing a class that half of the top players are using a legendary that is defensive, that in order just to live. And that's how bad the class has gotten when it comes to defenses. So just to put that in perspective, right, we look at statistics. This is all, so it's also including RBGs. It's not just including 3v3 and 2v2, and realistically there's going to be a lot more demon hunters and RBGs just because of how good Vengeance is. We are by far the worst class in PvP when it comes to top level play. We're half of the closest class to us in representation. I just want to pause just so people can think about that. We are half as close as DKs. And then when it comes to another melee class, it's not even close. We're nearly 5% less in representation after that fact. So Demon Hunter is just by far the worst melee class. And the real question is what happened, right? For those of you that don't know, Demon Hunter got completely gutted when it comes to defenses. One of the biggest defenses was something that wasn't really intended to be a defense most of the time. Demon Hunters played the Blade Dance spec no matter what, because First Blood was just dominant throughout of all BFA. And then on top of that, we got the dodge chance from Blade Dance. At the end of Blade Dance, it makes your dodge chance 100% for 1 second. So obviously, if good players were seeing this, it's pretty easy to play around, because once you see someone Blade Dance, you just don't use a CC after that point. Now, obviously, it's pretty annoying because it gives you a dodge every 10 seconds for a second. So it did make you a little bit more tanky, but realistically, that's not what was keeping Demon Hunters alive most of the time. And Demon Hunter never was a class that was unkillable in Arena. On top of that, you have the blur changes. So these blur changes don't look like they're too crazy, but that's because it's not actually showing the correct changes. So when we go to the changelog, this is actually what happened to blur. It was originally a 35% damage reduction, and now it's a 20% damage reduction. So nearly 40% of the actual damage reduction from the ability is completely lost. Now, later in the expansion, if we use an endurance conduit for it specifically, we get that back, but we're investing in an endurance conduit just to get to where we were before. And obviously, currently, we don't have access to that with the current structures of conduits. Next thing, we have the darkness changes, which they weren't actually really any darkness changes. But when we actually think about darkness as a cooldown, in order to make darkness even good, you have to use a PvP talent with it also. And it's just in that circle. So what do people do? They see purple underneath them, they move out of the circle and stop hitting you. And this is a 3-minute cooldown. So it's just not good. When in junction with the talent, it's nice for surviving. It's just never something that you're pressing in a situation and feeling good about the damage reduction that you're actually getting from it when people correctly play around it. Then on top of that, we have some changes that were probably not necessarily for PvP, but also affected PvP immensely. And that's going to be the Leech changes. So Demon Hunter Leech got removed as a baseline option from Metamorphosis. So it used to be we got 20% Leech just for pressing meta, but now we get 0 of that. The only way we actually get access to Leech anymore is through the talent Soul Rending, which also got nerfed. So when you look at Soul Rending, it reduced the base Leech that we had by 50%, so from 10% to 5%, and it reduced the amount of additional Leech that we got in Metamorphosis, including the 20% baseline by 5%. So we had 20% baseline Leech before, and we got 10 additional, so that was 30%, and now it's just a 25% flat. So we have 5% flat reduced overall, and 5% reduced from Metamorphosis. So that's 2 direct reductions. And then on top of that, I-Beam, the demonic talent, got reduced by 1/4. So we're in Metamorphosis 1/4 as less as we were before. So we have all of these changes that compile on each other that have made Demon Hunter in the place that they are now. Demon Hunter is by far the worst melee to play in PvP. And it's not something that we can just play a different spec to get around. When it comes to a lot of other classes, they have better options that they can just play. Demon Hunter is not that case. So when you do all these changes, you just completely alienate the whole class from PvP as a whole. I'm at a point now where I'm probably not even going to play my Demon Hunter in PvP, which sucks because I love playing Demon Hunter. But when it comes to PvP, when I'm playing with my friends, I'm probably just going to play my Boomkin. While I understand that the thought process is just play something else, I would much rather be playing the class that I want to play and the class that I enjoy. But I'm at a point where if I play it, it's detrimental to my team's success. So I hope that this video kind of puts some insight onto the current struggles of Demon Hunter and why those struggles have happened. I think there's a few specific things Blizzard can do to change these, specifically with reverting the changes to blur, reverting the changes to the general Leech that we have. I would just think that would be generally better for Demon Hunter as a whole. And realistically, Demon Hunter's never been in a spot where we're a super tanky class to begin with. So I think a lot of these changes were just really, really too far gone. I think even introducing something like having Blade Dance not have the dodge, but having Death Sweep have the dodge is also something to consider. Or having potentially a slight damage reduction when we're inside Metamorphosis. That way it doesn't make it so First Blood is just the dominant choice if there is a dodge chance put back on Death Sweep. As always, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, F5, refresh, try it again. Maybe like it the second time. Have a good one.